Picture this. You're sitting at Thanksgiving dinner. Your uncle, who has never owned a business in his life, is loudly explaining to everyone at the table exactly why the economy is broken and precisely how he would fix it. Nobody asked. But he's certain. And the strangest part? The more confidently he talks, the more a few people start nodding along. Meanwhile, the actual economist sitting 2 seats away quietly eats her mashed potatoes and says nothing. Why does that happen? Why do the people who know the least about something so often speak the loudest about it? The answer has a name. And once you understand it, you will never look at confidence the same way again. In the next few minutes, you're going to learn why incompetence and overconfidence almost always travel together. You'll see exactly how this plays out in your workplace, your social media feed, your friendships, and if you're being honest with yourself, maybe even inside your own head. This isn't about making fun of people. This is about understanding one of the most powerful psychological traps the human brain can fall into. And more importantly, how to make sure you don't fall into it without ever realizing it. Let's get into it. In 1995, a man walked into a bank in Pittsburgh in the middle of the afternoon. No disguise. No hat pulled low. No hoodie covering his face. He walked straight up to the counter, handed over a note, took the cash, and left. Then he did it again. Same day. Different bank. By nightfall, police had already identified him from the security footage. His name was MacArthur Wheeler. And when detectives showed him the camera recordings, he stared at the screen completely confused. He genuinely could not understand how his face was visible. Because before he robbed those banks, Wheeler had rubbed lemon juice on his skin. He had read somewhere that lemon juice works as invisible ink on paper. And somewhere in his reasoning, that translated into, if I put this on my face, cameras won't be able to record me. He wasn't mentally ill. He wasn't under the influence of anything. He was completely sober, and completely, utterly wrong. When psychologist David Dunning at Cornell University heard this story, he didn't laugh. He got curious. He asked his graduate student Dunning-Kruger a simple but deeply uncomfortable question. Is it possible that some people are too unskilled to recognize how unskilled they are? They designed a series of tests. Logic. Grammar. Reasoning. Real students. Real results. What they found was almost poetic in how painful it was. The students who performed the worst, the ones who scored in the bottom quarter, consistently believed they had done well. Not just okay. Well. They estimated themselves to be above average, even after getting most answers wrong. And the students who actually performed best, they underestimated themselves. They assumed everyone else found it just as easy. Dunning-Kruger published their findings in 1999. The paper was titled Unskilled and Unaware of It. And with that, the Dunning-Kruger effect was officially born. Here's what makes this so fascinating and so frustrating at the same time. It's not stupidity. It's structure. The human brain has a system for evaluating its own thinking. Psychologists call it metacognition, the ability to think about your thinking. But here's the cruel twist. To know whether your answer is wrong, you need the same knowledge that would have helped you get the answer right in the first place. Wheeler didn't understand optics. He didn't understand chemistry. So his brain had no internal alarm system to flag that his lemon juice plan was absurd. He had no reference point for correct, so incorrect felt completely reasonable. Think about the last time you watched a documentary about something complex, quantum physics, the global economy, geopolitics. The narrator made it sound elegant. Simple, even. You followed along, nodding. And for a few hours afterward, you felt like you actually got it. Researchers call this the illusion of explanatory depth. When someone explains a complicated system clearly, your brain can confuse following the explanation with actually understanding the system. Try this experiment right now, in your head. Explain how a zipper works. Not what it does. How it works, mechanically, step by step. Most people get about 3 sentences in before they realize they have absolutely no idea. That moment, that sudden drop in confidence, is actually your brain waking up. And it brings us to the most important part of all this. Confidence doesn't grow in a straight line. It moves through 4 very distinct stages. And I'd be willing to bet you've lived through at least 2 of them. Stage 1. Peak of overconfidence. You discover something new. Maybe it's investing in the stock market. Maybe it's learning to code. Maybe it's starting a podcast. You watch a few videos. Read a couple of articles. And suddenly, you feel ready. You're not just ready. You're ready to teach people. You start giving advice. You share strong opinions in comment sections. You feel like you've cracked it. But in reality, you've only seen the surface. You don't know enough yet to know how much you don't know. This is the most dangerous stage. Because the confidence feels completely real. Stage 2. The drop. If you keep going, and many people don't, things start getting harder. The more you learn, the more you realize how much territory you haven't even touched yet. Your confidence collapses. Suddenly you feel like a fraud. This stage is called the Valley of Despair by some researchers. And it's exactly where most people quit. But here's what they don't realize. The drop is proof you're making real progress. Stage 3. The slow climb. You don't quit. You keep practicing. You make mistakes, correct them, make different mistakes. Your confidence comes back, but it's quieter now. More grounded. You stop saying, I know exactly how this works. You start saying, here's what I've learned so far. This is real competence starting to form. Stage 4. Earned expertise. You've put in the time. You've done the work. And here's the irony that surprises everyone. True experts are often the least outwardly confident people in the room. Not because they doubt themselves, but because they understand how genuinely complex their field is. They've seen how much can go wrong. They know the limits of what anyone can know. The loudest person in the room is almost never the most qualified. That's not a coincidence. Here's where it gets even more interesting. The Dunning-Kruger effect doesn't just target beginners. It targets everyone, including people who are genuinely brilliant in one area but overestimate how that brilliance transfers. Think about a world-class surgeon. Sharp mind. Decades of training. Extraordinary under pressure. Now that surgeon reads 3 articles about cryptocurrency over a weekend. And on Monday, he's moving significant money into positions he barely understands. Because his brain is quietly whispering you're smart, you can figure this out quickly. That's the trap. Excellence in one domain can actually fuel overconfidence in a completely different one. And smart people are particularly vulnerable here, because they're skilled at building arguments. They can construct elaborate justifications for why they're right. An average person, when confronted with being wrong, runs out of counterarguments fairly quickly. A highly intelligent person can keep building the case, finding reasons, cherry-picking data, defending the position with real conviction. Which means the illusion lasts longer. And the fall, when it finally comes, hits harder. So how do you protect yourself from a trap your own brain sets without telling you? Here are 4 strategies that genuinely work. 1. Shut up and listen first. Next time you're in a conversation about a topic you feel confident in, don't speak first. Let other people go. Listen to the range of perspectives in the room. Pay attention to who seems to actually know something versus who's just performing confidence. When you stay quiet early, your brain shifts from defense mode into learning mode. You might discover there are dimensions to the topic you've never even considered. 2. Deliberately seek out disagreement. Most of us surround ourselves with people who validate what we already believe. It feels good. It's comfortable. It's also how blind spots grow unchecked. Find the person who disagrees with you most strongly. Not to argue, to genuinely understand why they think differently. Ask yourself, if they're even 10% right, what does that mean for my position? That 10% might be the most valuable thing you hear all year. 3. Teach it to a child. This comes from a method developed by physicist Richard Feynman, one of the greatest scientific minds of the 20th century. The rule is simple. If you truly understand something, you should be able to explain it on a single page in plain English, the kind a 12-year-old could follow without any background knowledge. No jargon. No buzzwords. No hiding behind technical terms. Try explaining what causes inflation, or how vaccines actually work at a cellular level, or what the Electoral College really does. If your explanation gets vague, circular, or complicated fast, that's the gap revealing itself. That's not failure. That's information. 4. Build the habit of saying "I don't know." 3 words that most people find surprisingly hard to say out loud. I don't know. In our culture, not knowing something feels like weakness. So we fill the gap with confident-sounding guesses. But the most genuinely respected people in any field say it constantly. Because they understand that "I don't know" is the starting line of actual learning. The moment you can say it comfortably, in a meeting, in a conversation, in front of people who are watching, that's the moment you stop being ruled by the Dunning-Kruger effect. We live in an era that rewards sounding confident above almost everything else. Social media gives the loudest voices the biggest platforms. Comment sections are full of people with total certainty and zero credentials. And somewhere in the middle of all that noise, the people who actually know what they're talking about often stay quiet, because they understand how complicated the truth really is. The Dunning-Kruger effect isn't a character flaw. It's a feature of the human brain operating exactly as designed, trying to save energy, fill gaps, move forward. But knowing it exists gives you a choice. You can chase the feeling of knowing everything, or you can chase the reality of actually getting better. One of those paths feels better in the short term. The other one is better in every way that actually matters. Think about one area of your life right now where your confidence might be outrunning your actual ability. Not to punish yourself, just to be honest. That honesty is where real growth starts. If this video shifted something in how you think about confidence and competence, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Drop a comment below. What stage of the Dunning-Kruger curve do you think you're in right now, with something you're currently learning? I'd genuinely love to read your answers. Subscribe if you want more videos that actually make you think. And I'll see you in the next one.